Today, I want to talk about what are you targeting in your next role versus who is targeting you. When we think about a job search or a career move, the first thing I always ask a candidate is, what are you looking for next in your career? And if you've not thought that question through, now is the time to do so. So many times in our career, we fall into a role or we take opportunities as they show up. And you've heard people say it a million times, I don't know how I fell into this role. But it's really important to get clear on exactly what you're targeting and how that role will play into your larger career trajectory. So let's assume that you do have a specific role in mind. And when that's the case, and someone says, oh, yeah, I know exactly what I'm targeting, almost everyone is thinking of this from the perspective of what do I want next in my career, or what company do I want to work for next? But what I'll ask you to do is to reframe that question instead to what companies are looking for me? Meaning, where's my market value? And you may not have ever heard anyone talk about your career or your experience in terms of market value. So let's talk a little bit about that. Let's walk through an example and we'll use a product management candidate. So let's say Jane is the director of product management. She's worked for a mid-sized public SaaS fintech company, so that's software as a service, financial technology company, for the past 7 years. And she's been leading a team of 5 line-level product managers for the past 2 years. The product she's built there, her and her team have been building, they've been around for many years, and she's helped them with steady growth and has been focused on leadership and growing her team, but she's less so focused on the day-to-day hands-on product management component of her role as a director. So Jane might say to me, I really want to be a VP of product for an early stage consumer tech startup. So let's then consider, what would an early stage consumer tech startup be looking for in their ideal VP of product? Well, first, they're likely looking for somebody who has built B2C products if this is a consumer tech company. And then because they're early stage, they'll likely want somebody who's comfortable rolling their sleeves up and likes being hands-on with product management. Ideally, they have experience taking products from 0 to 1, right? From ideation all the way through to launch. And they probably want somebody who's been in a really high growth environment because it's a startup and they're scrappy and they're going through a lot of growth and it's all hands on deck. So Jane, with her experience, is missing really all 4 of those components. So it's not to say that Jane has 0 chance of ever landing this role, but her market value for this specific type of role is much lower than someone who's recently built a consumer tech product that went from 0 to 1 and they had, massive growth and adoption and they iterated numerous times. So where is Jane's market value then? Well, she has excellent B2B experience, software as a service, financial technology. She has a few years of leadership under her belt. So her market value would be very high with another mid-stage software as a service company, ideally in the fintech space, either a senior director potentially, or maybe a VP role. She'd really be a home run candidate for a competitor to her current company, or for another, I would say another SaaS company with a similar target market. Let's say Jane's current product is utilized by banks, so someone who has another banking SaaS product. That said, she doesn't have to only go for that, right? We're not pigeonholing Jane for the rest of her career. If she wants to move to an earlier stage startup, she could look for opportunities where she hits at least 2 or 3 of her market value points. Maybe a Series B startup, so not super early stage, right? Where they're also in the fintech space, but maybe it's a consumer play. Or maybe she would look at a company who is tangential to the products that she's built. Or she can look outside her industry altogether, but stick with B2B SaaS. If she wants to get more hands-on, for example, she'd want to lean towards some of the like the industry, the company size, all that, and then look for a more hands-on role there. So again, we're hitting more of those market value points. The point here is that we want you to leverage your market value and target roles and companies that are seeking you. When your market value aligns with a company's needs, that equates to a higher financial value, aka a salary, for you from the hiring company. So again, this is not a case of you've done this is now what you're going to do forever. It's a case of let's think about where your value is and make sure that you are delivering value to the companies that you're targeting so that they'll be more excited to talk to you on the phone. You'll be more excited. There'll be a higher likelihood of you locking in interviews. And ultimately, when it comes to time for an offer, you're likely going to get a higher offer than someone who has less market value for that company.